think most of you been here since this morning. Yeah, and it's a long day, isn't it? Yes. And some times ago, someone asked me a question. They said that how can I find freedom in a situation that I can't change and I cannot escape? So a lot of people think, when you think of freedom, a lot of people would think in terms of the physical freedom, Like, yeah, I'm free, I can do whatever I like, that kind of freedom. And actually this reminds me when I was many years when I was in Thailand, and I first arrived in one of the monasteries. Actually, because when I went there, I had full of my ideas and expectations that how a monastery should be, how they should practice. Of course, when you go with that kind of expectation, you're bound to have disappointment, Then I find that they are a bit like superstitious, and they do a lot of ritual things, like changing your luck, that sort of things. And even the belief that if you're bad luck, then you become a magi for a couple, depends, some people for a couple of weeks, some people for a couple of months or 1 month, then you change your luck. So to me, to me, I find it very difficult to accept, that kind of, this is not according to the Dharma, all this, the mind is just keep, and was in that mind already not really quite happy and satisfied. Of course, when you have that kind of perception, you start to find fault, isn't it? Then of course this afternoon I told you that I found fault with the chanting, too slow, And I don't like to do the work like they asked me to collect those. The flowers is very tiny, very small, and they use it like they dry it and use it like herbs, like herbs, and it's very tiny, those flowers, and I have to pick that up, very tiny. And of course in Thailand, it's very humid and lots of mosquitoes, and it's very tiring when you squat down to pick that up, And then I really didn't like the job, Of course, it's all add up, The more you think about it, the more you got upset, keep complaining. The complaining mind, might keep complaining. Then after that, I decided, okay, now I'm not going to do that. I'm not come here to do this, so I'm come here to meditate. So then I decided next morning, after my breakfast, I ran back to the kuti so that they can't find me. I ran back, And sometimes it's really fun, when you look back, Sometimes this is where you learn your mistake, Sometimes it's okay not to be afraid to make mistake. This is where you learn. Then actually I managed to run away for 3 days. And the third days, actually I start to question myself. Because I've been still meditating and things like that, but I can see myself, But sometimes only you choose not to see. Sometimes it's not that you don't know, but we tend to use all sorts of reason, excuse, and try to justify, that it's okay for me to do that, But deep down we know that it's not justifiable. We know that. But it's only thing that because out of delusion, because of defilements, because we like to do what we want to do, isn't it? We want to, our likes and dislikes, the Buddha said, So the Buddha said, what we perceive, always distorted by our likes and dislikes. We always bang towards what we like, and try to run away from what we don't like. So then that afternoon, I'm really looking into myself and ask myself why I'm doing that. And actually, that afternoon, I was thinking that I'm going to leave. Then I started to ask myself why I want to leave. So your mind, you keep complaining and fault-finding mind. You think you're not happy here. You think you live here, you'll be happy elsewhere. So I start to question myself. It's interesting enough that actually I answer. I keep asking myself questions. I answer No. I ask myself, you think you're going to, be happy if you leave this place, you find peace? No. And so why are you doing that? Then actually I come to the place of just acceptance of like, yeah, this is my fault-finding mind. This is a defilements, playing itself up, So then I was thinking, no, I have to challenge myself that even though I don't like it, so I'm going to do it. Even though I hated that so much, I will, morning I get up, I will do the chanting. And then the next morning, I really, after breakfast, I go to find the second in charge, the senior nun, we call him Mei Pong. I said, Mei Pong, do you need to collect flower today? I said, I'm going to do it. Then actually, then I do it. Of course, initially I said, oh, and then started to complain, so hot. So it's got lots of mosquitoes, Then I told myself, shut up. And then sometimes actually it's more suffering when your mind thinking about it, how terrible. Actually, doing it is not so much suffering, The physical suffering is less. But the thinking about it, got upset about it, actually so much suffering, Actually, the moment when I stopped that, then I realized that actually it's not too bad, And then I realized that how, our mind, sometimes we think that, we carry that with us. Like sometimes people come to our monastery to stay, and then they think that, I have a break from my family, from my husband, from my kids. But even those physically, they are not there. And then when they come to the monastery, they still think about the children. They still think about the husband, what happened, whether the husband can deal with it, So sometimes I tell them, what if you die? They still have to live on, isn't it? But you see, sometimes we think that we are free, but we think we looking for the freedom like physically free, But actually, mentally, we are not free. Sometimes people bring the whole household to them, with them, to the monastery, They carry with them. So no freedom, isn't it? We bound by that, all the mental, all the mental activities, our attachment, but we keep searching for the freedom outside. And then we are constantly thinking that our suffering comes from outside. And just recently someone asked me, how to get rid of my suffering? I said, no, you can't get rid of it. I said, you can never get rid of suffering. I said, you can't get rid of the things outside. But actually, you have to look in within, That is the suffering actually is inside, within your heart, that what you create, So lots of suffering, we create lots of suffering for ourselves, but we still thinking that the object is a problem. Then we try to change, It's just like we keep changing places. It's just like we keep rearrange, our house furniture, but it's still the same old thing. Or we get rid of the old furniture, we get a new furniture, And then we think that, we feel a little bit better, But actually, we're still not free, isn't it? And I find it it's interesting that how our mind, And also one of the common thing that people used to say to me that, I would like to meditate, but I have no time, not free. So I have to wait till I have time. I finish my work, I finish all my project, then I have time to meditate. Then I tell the person, I say, wait until that you have time and you're free to meditate, you be rest in peace, I say. You can never meditate, isn't it? I have no time. But it's interesting that, if things that they like to do, that is a hobby, they no time also, they can find time. Isn't it? And also how sometimes in the society, in the world, that we've been conditioned like very competitive, always, finish things, want to be fast, want to be off, want to be efficient, And then I notice that even some people when they newly come to the monastery, they still bring that kind of mentality. Sometimes I say, why are you in the rush to finish the things? You have nowhere to go. They try to finish one thing, Then, I said, why you want to rush? I said, you take your time. You can't finish today. Continue tomorrow. And tomorrow you can't finish. You do it another day until you finish. I said, you know where to go. But because of this being conditioned, it become a habit. I call it like default setting, Even that they don't have to rush, but they get into the habit of rushing things, finish off things, want to compete, want to be fast, I'm better than you, I'm faster than you. The mentality is still there. It's sometimes quite difficult to change, It just reminds me that how people like to, in the world that we like to compete. Who is the fastest? Like that. I remember there were 3 boys, bragging about how fast the father is, how the father is. My father's the first boy said, "Oh, my father is very fast. When you pull an arrow, before it's reached its destination, he already catch the arrow. It's so fast, he can run so fast." And then the second boy said, "Your father cannot compare with my father. My father even faster. He can even catch the bullet even faster than your father." And then the third boy said, "Haha, I beat all of you to it. My father is the fastest. My father's finished work at 5. He reached home at 4:30. And actually, sometimes it's quite difficult. Like the Buddha said, that with thoughts, we manifest into words, and when the thoughts arises, then we were thinking about it, and then there is inner chatter, isn't it? So we manifest into words, and from words, we manifest into action, and then from action, we develop a habit. And as a habit, we keep repeating, doing the same thing. It's become very solid, and we become a character. It's just so solid, and it's very difficult to change and become like a default setting. We run like an automatic pilot. We're just doing it. Sometimes we're doing it without knowing that we do it. And sometimes it's just so scary. That sometimes we don't even see ourselves that we are doing it, and sometimes even we can see. But we still try to justify, like what I did. But sometimes it's interesting that, that when I look back, actually I'm glad that, that's why there's no good or bad experience. That actually I learned a lot, and to see myself, to understand myself, that I'm doing that, Sometimes that we want to solve. Sometimes you can't get rid of the suffering, but we have to understand where is our suffering coming from. Why I'm doing that? Why I'm suffer? Sometimes we ask ourselves, why I suffer? What am I holding on to? And this is something is so difficult when it's become we say old habit die hard. So that's why when we keep feeding, our defilements, it become more and more, ingrained and more difficult to work with. That's why sometimes even though we're aware of that, it still comes again and again, But we still have to keep working with it. It takes a long time. But sometimes a lot of people expect now I'm started to meditate, I'm started to work with my defilements, and then they expect that it's going to stop immediately. It's not going to stop immediately. It takes time, So they said this is how we always think that, I finish all my work and be free, then I have more time to meditate, And also I remember last time I read one of the comics, the Buddhist comics, that the nuns, living in the cave, and then her robes is being bitten by the mice, and then she have to patch her robe. And then each time she patched her robe, the next day, again, another hole. And then she had to patch. And then again, she had to patch. And then she got so fed up that every day she had to patch her robe. And then she was thinking, it's wasting my time. Every day I have to patch my robes. I want to meditate. I want to spend time patching my robe. So then someone suggested, why not to get a cat? So that you have a cat, so that he will chase away the mice, then you don't have to patch your robe. Then after that, she got the cash, she got the cat, you know. Then, but with the cat, she had to get milk for the cat, you know. So every day she went up in the bar, and then she had to ask the lay people to give her some milk, you know. So she had to get some milk, you know, to feed the cat, and then so that the cat can chase the mice, you know, and so that she don't have to patch the rope. Now, of course, that, you know, every day she have to ask the lay person for milk. It's so, you know, for her, like, so complicated. Why not? Sometimes we think that we can fix the problem, and then forever we don't have to do it anymore. So then she says, so why not? Someone suggested, why not you get a cow? You know, get a cow, then you have your own milk every day, so you don't have to go out to get milk, you know. Then, okay, she got a cow, you know. So she have a cow. She got a cow to provide milk for the cat, and then for the cat, and then the cat that chase the mice away, and she don't have to patch her rope. They get more complicated. And then, of course, the cow need to eat grass, isn't it? So she had to get grass every day for the cow. Then she every day very busy, you know, have to get grass, you know, to feed the cow, and then the cow provide milk for the cat, and the cat to chase the mice away, and she don't have to patch the rope. Then after that, like, because so busy, she say, what am I getting to? You know, I'm so busy. You know, every day have to get grass for the cow. So why not? I got a piece of land, you know, the paddock, you know, to provide all the grass, so that she don't have to every day go and get grass, you know. So okay, she got the lay people very supportive, you know, get the land for her, you know, and then so she have her own piece of land, provide grass, and then, you know, and for the cow, and then for to provide milk for the cat, and then the cat to chase the mice away, and she don't have to patch the rope. Now, of course, when, you know, such a piece of land, you know, and then you have to look after. You have the land is not that is, you know. Then someone suggested, Maya, you get someone to help, you know, to look after the land, to look after the cow, you know. So then she got someone, and then but you get a young boy, you know, to do that, you know. And then she got so busy, you know, that, you know, because the boy will look after the land, you know, and then so that they have the grass for the cow, and then the cow provide milk for the cat, and then the cat, you know, chase the mice away, and she don't have to patch the rope. Now, of course, she was so busy all day, you know, and then because of, you know, you have to look after the boy, you know, and then say, oh, you have to build a house for him to stay and to look after him, and then on and on. Then she realized that I'm really busier than before, you know. Then she just realized that, okay, she gave up. It's better off to patch the ropes every day. The house is easier, isn't it? Then sometimes this is how we think that we fix one thing, and then we create another problem, isn't it? And then another and another. Sometimes never end. Sometimes we think that we finish all, you know, the works will never end, you know. It's not go on and on and on. This is part of life. The suffering will not end. The suffering will not end outside. Lives go on, you know. Constant, like for us, like you think we just build our sala complex, you think that's it. So we have to build more kutis, you know. It's never end. But if you think that, you know, I end everything only I practice, then you can never practice, isn't it? But this is how we kind of mentality, we think that, oh, I'm so that I can free, not to do anything. You think you're really free, you know. Physically, you're not free, but your mind is still not free. Your mind have all the fantasy, you know, carry the past, you know, mourning the past, carry the guilt from the past, and worry about the future. Never have one moment of peace, you know, keep, you know, on and on. So we think that we be free, you know. That's why sometimes people say, oh, I try to do nothing, but I can't. I said, of course you can. I said, you try to do nothing, you can't do nothing, you know. And because I said that actually, people think that, physically not doing things, but the mind is still doing. The thinking itself is doing, all the activities, And the people don't see, never have one moment of peace, one moment of freedom. Just busy the mind all the time. Especially you get into the habit of thinking. Actually, you enjoy the thinking because it's you, it's me. Because if you don't think, that means it's not you anymore. Like for example, is some like we have someone, parents, a mother got depressed for many years, about 30 years. I think more than 30 years, and she's already in her 50. And then she married at the age of 16. So yeah, over 30 over years, because of she married very young. Her mother married her off to Australia at the age of 16. She's Italian. And then, but her mother regretted that. She find that because of, she wasn't like her she just been married off. Actually, she wasn't happy with the marriage because it's arranged matchmake. But initially she wasn't happy. But her husband is a very good guy. But eventually she's really, because the husband is a very good husband, and then she eventually, and then she loved her husband, and then they live quite a happy life, and then both also become Buddhists, and then they practice together, have the same value. But the mother still become depressed because of she beating herself up. She feel really bad that she married her young daughter, and she couldn't get over that, she become depressed. So, and this lady tried to bring her, she brought her mother to Australia, say, look, Mom, I'm really happy now, I'm okay. You don't have to carry the guilt, So you see, I have a happy life now. I have my grandchildren, I have my family. We are okay, we are happy. We are living a happy life, But the mother can't stop being depressed because she's been depressed for so many years. Even theoretically she knows, but she cannot help it. Then I asked, how's your mother? She said, oh, it's very difficult. She's still depressed. It's become a habit. So when it become a habit, it's very difficult to work with, So that's why sometimes the thinking also, we become the habit. Then we like to think. And then sometimes people like to worry. They just like to worry. They just like to find something to worry. If they don't worry, it's no longer them. They have to worry. Sometimes I couldn't believe, sometimes if you just worry about things haven't happened yet, they already, don't know how many steps, Thinking ahead, go ahead, because actually that tendency, that it's very difficult to change, That's why sometimes we think in terms of the freedom, we always think in terms of I can do what I like, And especially we think that, this is, I got my freedom, I can do whatever I like. No, sometimes we follow our defilements, actually give us more suffering, especially these unwholesome thoughts when we follow that. Especially unskillful motive, isn't it? Leads us to more suffering when we feed them, when we follow those thoughts and those unwholesome qualities of mind that leads to unwholesome emotion, a lot of fear, anger, anxieties. And actually the Buddha said that it's not that it's bad. The Buddha said it's not good or bad, but it's just unwholesome. The Buddha said whenever that is unwholesome, it leads you to suffering. Whatever that is wholesome, it leads you to liberation, leads you to freedom. So we never judge that it's good or bad. It's just like in the Aranya Bodies Suttas, the Buddha mentioned about we don't judge. We don't say, okay, those who keep 5 precepts, they are goody, they are very good. We don't put someone up, and we don't, put someone down as well. Oh, those don't keep the precept, they are really bad. No. So the Buddha said we just speak about the Dhamma. If you live an unskillful life, they lead you to suffering. So if you live a good life, virtuous life, that leads you to freedom. So we are not, we are not judging someone else, but we just speak of Dhamma. So this is the truth, but we are not saying you are bad, you are terrible, you don't keep precept, you are bad. No, we just said that, if you live an unskillful life, will bring you more suffering. If you live a skillful life, you lead you to liberation, happiness. So that's why in general, most people, they make decisions based on three great standards. The first one, if everybody doing it, they must be right. It's okay. So like especially like copying, CD, because it's okay, everybody doing it, isn't it? So it's fine. Must be all right because everybody doing it is okay, And we don't even reflect and contemplate whether this is a right thing to do, because it's stealing, it's copyright, And then the second one is people just based on what they like. I don't care. As long as this make me happy, even it's harmful, even what the person, what I'm doing now is going to cause someone suffering or on the expense of others, I don't care. As long as I am happy, what's make me happy. And the third one is based on what is beneficial to myself and beneficial to others. What is for my own well-being and the well-being of others. So based on, that is with the wisdom, based on the understanding, the right understanding that, for my own benefit and the benefit of others. So that's why sometimes we think that we can do what we like, but actually sometimes we cause so much suffering, So this is how in three levels, physically and verbally, speech. Now we talk about speech. Nowadays we talk about freedom of speech. Isn't it? We can say whatever we like. But sometimes, freedom of speech, when you cause so much harm, Sometimes we say even the tongues, just how much, just that your 1 inch, 3 inches tongue, Actually, you can kill someone, isn't it? Someone because of, the bullying, and all this, and there is and cause so much suffering to others, harming others. Some people, they have such a sharp tongue, and you can kill someone. And freedom of speech, doesn't mean that you can say anything you like, and doesn't mean that we have to suppress ourselves and not to say anything. So the Buddha taught about right speech. So we practice right speech, but not right silence. Some people think that, I'm a Buddhist, I shouldn't say anything, I should be quiet, and I should be, let people bully me, I shouldn't stand up for myself. No, you can stand up for yourself. You can hiss, you can express yourself. But, fulfill the 5 conditions the Buddha said. Whether it is true, whether it's the right time, right place, whether it is kind, whether it's the words that you choose with, pleasing to the ears, speak, you choosing the kind words, whether it's out of anger or out of ego that I just want to show that you are wrong, and then whether it is true, you have to fulfill that. Whether it is kind, so you fulfill that and then you can say it, But if you don't fulfill any of that, if not beneficial for the person, what part, but, sometimes that the person will not accept what you said and will argue and lead to argument. So you just keep your mouth shut, you don't say anything because it's not beneficial. So a lot of people think that, being a Buddhist and then we shouldn't say anything, we should, shouldn't stand up for ourselves. No, we can, we can stand up for ourselves. We can express our views, it's not that we have to suppress ourselves not to say anything. So we practice right speech and not right silence. So a lot of people think that I should be silent, shouldn't say anything. No. Sometimes we should let other people know it's not okay, you know. You have to point out that it's not okay if you do that. But of course, you know, right speech. And, you know, and then with nice words, you know, pleasing to the ears, you know. But we don't simply praise people, you know. And if we simply praise, also become a flatterer, isn't it? And then you don't really mean it. Then it's not honest at all, and it's not right speech, you know. Because you just want to please that person, make that person happy, but really not come from your heart, you know. So yes, you know, sometimes a little praise takes a long way, you know. So the words have to chosen with kindness, you know, gentle, you know, that right speech, you know. They say not, you know, this is how through our bodily actions, speech, that sometimes we cause so much, you know, harm to others, causing so much suffering to others. And ultimately, when we harm others, we harm ourselves. You know, sometimes it's not beneficial to ourselves at all. And then also then the mental level, come to the mental level, sometimes if we are not aware of that, we keep feeding, you know, our mind, you know. So sometimes like the mind will affect our body so much, you know. Like we have many cases. There's this recently, someone told me that that she's been having depression for many years. And sometimes like, her depression really, because of her depression, and then she always, when she's a little bit unwell, and she start to worry, she start to project, like, you know, oh, I might get this, I might be this, I might this, and then she make herself more sick. And, you know, the mentally, you know, she make herself more sick. And then I told her that, you know, actually, she really sometimes having diarrhea. And the kind of, when she's nervous, she have that. So I said, actually, you make yourself sick. She knows about that, but very difficult because it's from childhood, you know, the childhood that because of she being suppressed a lot and grow up in the family that, you know, the father being very controlling. And that's why suppressed a lot. And for example, like when she was young, like not allowed to eat any junk food, you know, very strict. And then have to the father tried to shape her a lady. You cannot wear pants, you have to wear skirt, have to learn piano. You know, it's very controlling. Like the father want her to live up to his expectation, what a girl should be, what a girl should, you know, to look like. So she's been forced to learn piano that she doesn't like, and she's been forced to do that profession that she didn't like it, you know, and she told me that, you know, that inside her she had that. She quite rebellious, you know, because of the suppression so much. So when she was a bit grown up a bit, and then she was in uni, so she's not staying with the parents. You know what she did? She's free now. She will eat those big packets of chips, 3 packets, no rice. 1 tub of ice cream, no rice. 3 liters of Coke every day. Because of suppress, you're not allowed. The more you suppress, the moment you know the mind, you know, like you put in the cage, like the tiger in the cage, you know. Once you're free, the mind is like that. So that's why sometimes how we suppress, you know, that once, you know, you let go, you know. So she did all that. And then and somehow like, and then she started to do all sorts of, like, you know, because we'll cut all the funny hairstyle, you know, and wear all sorts of funny, you know, the dress up, you know, because of she being suppressed. She just want to be rebellious, but in front of the father don't dare to, but behind she'll do all these things, but the father don't know anyway. But she feel good about it because she feel that somehow I'm in control. I can do what I like. But it's not skillful, isn't it? And then she comes to the Dharma, and actually she improved a lot. But of course, it's still there because it takes time. It's not going to go away immediately, And I think just recently that she been to to just do some those Ayurvedic doctor, and then actually for her, like, she doesn't know this Ayurvedic doctor, and she just asked about her some of her sinus thing, but she's not ready to open up to a stranger, to someone that she doesn't know. And then, but this Ayurvedic doctor, but I think he's not really very professional in the mental side, and tell her that you have depression, which she already know, and many people know, and actually caused so much damage to her. That day after when he said that to her, she go back, it's really triggered her off. She really cried very emotional. Because of when he said that, when the person don't understand when you said that, someone telling you that you got depression, actually to her is that she feel that it's not all right. Like she shouldn't have depression. And then she said, "Why I'm still have depression?" I said, "Of course you still have." I said, it's not going to go away immediately, But because of she feel like she being judged. This is how she feel. So sometimes it's not helpful at all. It's just like you putting some salt onto someone's wound. And she's not ready, especially in front a stranger, that she doesn't know that person. And coming from someone like that telling you that, sometimes people don't understand. Sometimes people come off, out of good intention, think that they're kind, but actually it's not kind at all. Like sometimes people going through stuff, that you're emotionally, you're going through stuff, and then actually sometimes you just need to have a bit of space. And sometimes people are so kind that, why she's going through some stuff, and then they try to give someone a long lecture. If the person not ready to say anything, you just leave the person alone. Let the person, give the person some space, but not to try to give a long discourse lecture, how to be positive, Actually, it's not skillful at all. Sometimes you leave people alone. They just need a space. Actually, it's not really kind at all, But the person, out of good intention, but actually it's not skillful. And that Ayurvedic doctors also, like, thinking of, he thought that she doesn't know. But actually she knew about it. She's been working with it. But he thought that somehow I'm an Ayurvedic doctor. I know that you're having this problem, But actually she knew about it, And she's been working with that. And suddenly someone said that, sometimes can be very damaging. They said sometimes I always let the person to approach me. I don't come and, even I can see, even that person they have a lot of pain in the body. Actually, it's come from mental. But sometimes the person not ready to talk about it. Actually, you just have to leave the person alone. Until the person ready to talk about it, only you can talk to that person. You can't just go and tell the person, and try to cheer that person. Okay, come on, be positive. Actually counterproductive, because the person is not ready. Sometimes you don't want to talk about it. Sometimes you just want to be left alone, And they say sometimes it's a lot of this, how mentally, we cause the body, a lot of pain, And they have someone also telling me that all these years that, she's been pushing her pain away. Even though when she asks, me. And I said, because I know that this person, yes, she have a little bit, she have physical pain, but because of mentally she don't like the pain, she tries so hard to push the pain away. And even though we say, okay, you accept the pain, and actually she reinforced the pain, actually to the point that unbearable. But actually, deep down she know that actually she actually reinforced the pain. But it's very difficult. It's become unhappy because she deep down don't like the pain at all. So when we asked them, when I told her, I said, no, it's okay. You just accept your body. You just meditate on the pain. And then she said, I know. And Ajahn Brahm, and you've been telling me, that don't try to get rid of the pain. But I still have my own version of interpretation. I just still do my way. Even though she meditate on the pain, but deep down she have that motive, intention to get rid of the pain. That's why it doesn't work, and sometimes even become worse than before. And she ended up like her whole body pain, and she can't sleep. She can only sleep for 2 hours. And only recently she said, and then she told me, all this year I only got it recently. She be able to really let that go, to just meditate on her pain. So actually, all her bodily pain disappear. Because the rest of, yes, she has a bit of physical pain, but her mind, that the more she didn't want to have the pain, actually she reinforced that. She suffer more. And takes her a few years. Even we try to, each time she come and talk to me, each time I tell her this, she, She said, then I realized that actually how we lock into our own views and opinions, and actually it's again, it sends herself, and she tried to get rid of it, and then she thinks that it doesn't work. She thinks that what myself and Ajahn Brahm told her doesn't work, because you can't meditate and then to let the pain go away. I said, I didn't mean that. But she interpreted that way. She interpreted her own version. It's just like yesterday I told, I think some of you were here. Like when I tell someone that, your anger, is come from your craving. When you can't get what you want, the intensity of your anger is the same as your craving. And the other person overheard that, I'm so happy that I have no anger. That means I have no craving. I said, I never said that. But somehow we like to interpret, our own version. And then she said she be interpret that way, her own version, And actually sometimes takes long time. Sometimes we think that we got it, actually we didn't get it. So until you have to keep practicing until your mind, have more clarity, and you'll be able to see all the subtle defilements. Only through that you can free yourself. If not, you will never free yourself, especially your mental suffering. And then again and again, come from the craving. The craving is the source, And the craving, we always, look into the future. We always don't like to stay in present moment awareness because it's come from the craving. The craving make the minds move. You don't want to stay. And it's because it's being conditioned, it become a habit. So they say a lot of people, it's like an addiction. Even though you know that it's no good, you know that it's go on and on and on feeding that unwholesome thoughts leads you to more suffering, but you can't help it. It's like an addiction. When it's become a habit, it's very difficult to work with. And that's why sometimes if we really, that want to liberate, the true liberation is that the liberation, the freedom from all the unwholesome qualities, the defilements, the craving. That is the true liberation. It's not the freedom that, the physical freedom, or through our bodily action or speech. No, it's not outside. Actually, it's in our mind. We've been bound by our great hatred and delusion, and it's come from the craving. The craving comes from the sense of self, and our sense of self getting in the way. But it's not easy, but it can be done. So actually, it takes time. So a lot of people, when they start to practice, they want to see the results. Actually, you cannot get rid of the suffering, but you can lessen your suffering. It's just like, for example, it's just like a ball. When you kick the ball will spin. Even though you stop kicking the ball still spin. But the momentum, it becomes slower because you didn't add in new energy. If we don't feed our defilements, don't react to our anger. Of course, the anger is still there. But if you keep feeding it, and then the get more energy, and then the ball will spin faster and faster and faster, will never stop. So if we stop reacting, stop feeding our defilements, and your defilements reduce, but it's still there. It's not going to overnight. Your defilements is not going to go away immediately. Your anger will not go away immediately. So and then you continue to practice, and then stop reacting, stop kicking the ball. The ball eventually becomes slower and slower and slower. It stops. So we cannot get rid of suffering. So a lot of people try so hard. They think maybe I don't meditate hard enough. I should sit longer. I should force myself to sit longer. Then my defilements will go away. It won't go away in that sense, It's just like it's just like the fire without fuel, it will stop. Because nothing to burn at all. But if you keep, forcing and reinforce your tendency, it becomes stronger and stronger and stronger. That's why we keep coming back and coming back and coming back again. You stay in the samsara, never end. So the suffering will never end outside. It's only within. And sometimes how and I can see most people, they try to end their suffering. Actually, they jump from one suffering to another suffering, isn't it? You change of suffering. I remember we have one lady used to come and see me, and she had no boyfriend. And she had suffering of not having boyfriend. She said, I feel lonely, I have no boyfriend, and da. Then she always come and complain to me, lonely, no boyfriend, and she looking for a boyfriend. And then at last she got a boyfriend, and she so happily tell me that I got boyfriend now. Okay, well, congratulations, you got boyfriend. And then later she come to me, got boyfriend suffering. Before that she had no boyfriend suffering. Now she got boyfriend suffering. And she said, we don't have the same value. And then, I always have to fit in, blah, blah, blah. And complain about, So I said, so how? I said, when you have no suffering, you crave for, when you have no boyfriend, you crave to have boyfriend. And then that time you have no boyfriend suffering. Now you have boyfriend suffering, So sometimes I said, you don't try to, get a boyfriend for the sake of having one, just because other people have one, So I said, you just have to consider, I can't help you. I said, you have to make your own decision, whether it's, because some people don't want to take responsibility. They come and tell me, I'm not going to tell you that you stop the relationship. It's your problem, It's not my problem at all, So I said, I threw the ball to her. I said, you make your own decision whether it's worthwhile to continue your relationship, because it's just new a few months only. Already so much argument, complaint. So I said, whether you make your own decision whether you should continue with the relationship, You make you decide for yourself. I'm not going to make the decision for you whether to continue with your relationship. It's a cost you so much. So I asked her, I said, you ask yourself whether it's worth continuing your relationship with him. whether this is what you want in life, you know. And that's why sometimes how we try to get freedom, you know, outside in the outside world. But actually the freedom is not in there. Is we carry that with us, you know, our sense of self, our ego, craving, you know, all this, you know, we're bound by that. You know. So sometimes it's very difficult that we can't, it's very difficult to see ourselves. That's why when we meditate, actually, because it's easy for us to see others, isn't it? Others' behavior pattern, you know. But it's very difficult to see ourselves because it's so close. You try to see your finger, you can't see it's a hand. But that's why when we meditate, we slow down our mind, we have more space. So when we have more space, you know, then we can see ourselves. So it's a gradual training. It takes a bit of time. So, and especially this week, our theme is present moment awareness. That's why, you know, that always bring your mind back to this present moment, you know. So if you have one present moment awareness, you have one moment of peace, one moment of freedom. So if you have many, many moments of peace, you have many, many moments of freedom. So not to worry so much. Sometimes people tend to worry how long can it take, when I'm going to attain Nibbana. I say everybody want to get enlightenment to Nibbana, but you don't actually know what is Nibbana. But you just want to get there. Isn't it? Because you think that, you know, I don't like this, I want Nibbana. I say, you don't even know what is Nibbana, what is enlightenment, you know. But it's just because of, you know, you don't like it, you know. You just things that is unpleasant, you try to get rid of it. I say, you can't get rid of things. You have to look at the cause and investigate and understand that is where is the suffering coming from. They said, the Buddha said, the first noble truth is to be fully understood. The suffering has to be fully understood. You understand what is the cause? What causes you suffering? What are you holding on to? What is that, you know, to understand where's the problem coming from. So actually it's not outside. You have to look in within, not without. So, and then it takes a bit of time. So, but I know most people, they always look for guru, you know, to give me a special recipe, a special technique. Then I practice that, I get enlightened. You know, even the Buddha, even any guru cannot practice for you. You have to do it yourself. You have to develop your own wisdom to solve your own problem. Only through your own wisdom, your own clarity, to see where is the suffering coming from. What is your problem? What is your underlying tendency? What that, you know, that really, what are you, what are the things that bound you bound? What are the things that, you know, bind you, you know, that you can't come out from that, you know, that you have to look at that. So you have to understand our suffering, understand our problem. So, but understand our problem, understand ourselves. So the only way to free ourselves by looking inwards and understand yourself, understand your own underlying tendency, then only you can really have the liberation from all defilements, from the craving. Because craving, that is the one, and the craving is come from the sense of self. So I offer this for Dharma reflection. May this teaching be of benefit to all of you. So any questions or comments?
Hands up.
Oh, no questions or comments. Oh.
There.
Okay. Intelligent one. Next slide will be intelligent.
Dear Venerable, just now you mentioned that about the the doctor that was actually saying that this person has a depression. I was just wondering how. I mean, sometimes we do say certain things with good intention, and also, of course, wanting to help. So, how to actually help us to be more skillful, such that we don't make that kind of mistake like what the doctors made, because sometimes where we probably don't know the stranger, and we probably say something, but the intent is to help. So in this case, I thought that is actually a very good point, but that skillfulness is the training part, which I was wondering how do we practice it too?
Yeah, sometimes normally you just have to see whether the person has to trust in you. Because sometimes people don't open up themselves if they don't trust you. So if they don't trust you, whatever you said is useless. Just put it that way. It's not going to help. You know, if the person, that's why sometimes I don't go and grab people, come, I have to know. If the person come to me because they have the trust in me, they will listen. You know, and the person also has to have the willingness to work with the difficulties, the problems, you know, like someone have, like, for example, a few years ago, I think about 3 years ago, there was a young lady, teenager, she's about 19. This girl with drugs problems. So the father brought her to the monastery and see me. Then I look at her, I said that, you know, I would love to help too. I would love to help too. But first of all, and I look into her eyes. I'm really very sincere. I look into her eyes. I said, are you willing to help yourself? I said, if you're not willing to help yourself, no matter what I do, what your father tried to do, it's not going to work. It has to come from you. And I think she is just ready. Sometimes, you know, when the student ready, the teacher appear. And then sometimes that time I think she just, the right time, you know, that she was being receptive and she got it. Sometimes even though how many times we listen, we didn't get it, you know, that she got it. Before that, her father tried very hard, taking her counseling here, counseling there, you know, doesn't work. You know, then after that, just last year I met his father, and she come for a few sessions. You know, I meditate with her, talk to her, give her some books and things like that, some CD, and then I met her father, and her father said, you know, I said, oh, I've been long time, haven't seen you. Yes, he said, I'm busy. I was thinking to come to see you, but I have just no time. And then the father said, I'm very grateful, you know, for your help. Now my daughter is okay. I said, I haven't done much though. I said, you know, I haven't done, you know, I just try to do my best, you know. So then she said, somehow her daughter is not okay. Come out from the drugs, having a good job and doing very well, you know. So I said, actually also depends on the person, whether she is ready and she's open up to you. So if the person is not ready and not open up to you, sometimes you can't too much. Truly, you know. That's why sometimes I don't really, you know, like, to me, like, I don't try to solve everybody's problems, but I do my best. If someone come to me, I'll do my best. Even I can't solve the person's problem, but you can always give the person support, care, you know. Give them the care, the kindness, compassion. Even we can't solve everybody's problems, but we can always care. Yeah, I know sometimes we want to help, but sometimes you just have to accept that, you know. We cannot help we cannot solve everybody's problem. And not to buy into others people's emotion as well. And then not to carry, I mean, I find some people carry other people's problem with them, worry about that person, worry about this person, you know. Actually, ultimately, that person have to sort out their own problem, not us. We can only give a little bit of encouragement, support, or advice to guide them. But not to get sucked into someone, like especially emotionally get sucked in. So, yeah. So, any more questions or comments? Yes. They have to have the clarity. If,
Meditate.
yeah.
Meditate, and then I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if they cannot meditate, then how do you guide them?
That's why we have to learn to let go as well. It's not that we don't want to help, but we can't. Sometimes it's difficult enough, we can't even solve our own. Sometimes people try to solve everybody's problem. They can't even solve their own problem, and they try to solve everybody's problems. So we solve your own problem first. I remember some years ago there was a lady. Her son committed suicide, but they managed to rescue him. And she was so worried and asked me, give me Dharma book. I want to let my son to read Dharma book. I said, stop. This is not the time for your son to read Dharma book. I said, if you truly want to help your son, first of all, you help yourself first. Make yourself as peaceful as you could. Your son needs your support. You go there, sit with him, care. He needs your support, your care, your love. You just sit there, give him the peace. Not going there if you go there, you look so worried. Actually, you make him feel bad. You make him feel really bad, Feel guilty, isn't it? If you see your mother is really worried about you. But if you go there, with peace and calm, there is something that you can offer to your son, but not asking him to read. Because when you're in that state of mind, you think you can understand, you can read those Dharma books, you can't. If like that, we all got enlightened already, no need to practice 6 Dharma book and read. I said, no. I said, make yourself as peaceful as you could. First of all, you calm yourself first. You look after yourself first. You look after yourselves, then only you can look after others. So sometimes we want to solve everybody's problem except your own problem. So we sort out our own problem first. Then only we can help others. So I say, I know everybody, because sometimes it's come from a sense of self. We feel that we are so important. We're helping everybody, and then we feel good, So it's feeding our sense of self. We feel so good that I'm so good. I help, others, But actually, we can't even help ourselves. And that's why, first of all, if we truly want to help others, then you help yourself first. You sort out your own problem first before you can sort out other people's problems. But of course, we can always give some support. If we can give some advice, we give some advice. And giving advice also have to be careful. Someone told me that, someone told me that, I think there was a question, someone told me that this person, she was a bit like going a bit down, sometimes a bit stressful with work and things like that. Of course, when you're stressful, you're a bit agitated and irritated. And then her friend come and telling her, give her a long lecture, how to be positive, Sometimes, actually, some people just need some space. Give them some space, Just let them to sort their own problem. Sometimes people I know some people come to me, they just want to let out only. Actually, I don't have to do anything. I just listen, let them, then they dump into me. But then my bin is just, underneath is just, hollow. So, no, so you just dump in and they go out. So I normally don't carry people, whatever they said to me. After I turn around, I don't remember what that person said. I just listen. Sometimes they just want to. Sometimes they feel like they just want to release, but they don't dare to simply talk to a friend or whoever. So they just find someone they trust or a stranger. That's why they go counseling like someone that they don't know. Then they let it out. And now they need to just let it out. And then you just let them out. But for us, we are free. They don't have to pay. So you just sit there, you just listen. Sometimes they don't really want to listen to your advice though. They just want to let out only. And then sometimes we think that we are so important. We try to sort out everybody's problem. No, we are not that important. Okay. And any questions or comments? No. So I thought Louis, no, she's just scratching her ear. So I think, okay. So there's no more questions or comments. So going. Okay, gone. So good night, everyone.
Sadhu, sadhu. Like to share merits, Venerable.
Akasata Jabummata Devanaga Mahetika Punyantam Anamoditwa Tiram Rakantu Loka Sazanang Akasata Jabummata Devanaga Mahetika Punyantam Anamoditwa Tiram Rakantu Desanang Akasata Jabummata Devanaga Mahetika Punyantam Anumoditva Jiram Rakantu Mam Paramti.
Good night. A few announcements.